The first key word is fundamentals. What a most important word, fundamentals. This word calls attention to the primary issue in our quest for greater success. It is the key word in making our lives work well. Fundamentals. Those basics that build the foundation for accomplishment, productivity, success, and lifestyle. Fundamentals form the beginning, the basis, the reality from which everything else flows. And remember, there are no new fundamentals. Fundamentals are old, well established. Beware of someone who claims to have a new fundamental. That's like someone who claims to manufacture antiques. We would have to be suspicious, right? So fundamentals, basics, they are so very important to understand and consider and practice if you wish for the good life. And may I add here, make sure you don't go looking for the exotic answers to success. Success is a very basic process. It doesn't fall out of the sky. It doesn't have any mysteries, nor does it fall into the realm of the miraculous. Success is merely a natural result that comes from the consistent operation of the practical fundamentals. As someone wisely remarked, to be successful, you don't have to do extraordinary things. Just do ordinary things extraordinarily well. Mr. Schoaf, my teacher, gave me many great phrases I'll always remember. One of them was, there are always about a half dozen things that make 80% of the difference. What a key thought, a half dozen things. Whether we are working on our health, wealth, personal goals, or professional enterprise, the difference between our ultimate success or inevitable failure lies in the degree to which we are willing to seek out, study, and to go to work on those half dozen things. For a farmer to reap a plentiful harvest in the fall, for example, the major basics are fairly obvious. Soil, seed, water, sunshine, nourishment, and care. Each fundamental being equally in need of study and attention, for together they bring about the best chance for a successful harvest. A good question to ask before undertaking any project or setting any new objective, then, is what are the most important half dozen things that will make the major difference in how it works out? So whether the enterprise is art or architecture, music or sculpture, mathematics or sports, business or farming, success or lifestyle, it's the fundamentals that count. To understand them and to practice them is to take the first intelligent step toward accomplishing your objectives and living your dreams.
One of the big problems is sitting down and doing the work. Pressfield talks about that in the most concise and beautiful way. And he labels it like an enemy. He calls it resistance. You know, and that you have to sit down, you have to overcome resistance, and that the pro goes to work. And it doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter if you have kids, you're a pro and you go to work. And it puts it in your head that this is what I do. And you have pride in that.
Just bring it. That's it. Just bring it. I'd say that in my everyday life in terms of my challenges and things like that.
But anytime you reach the top, you always want to make sure that you have the desire to raise the bar and take the brass ring to places it's never been. That's the key with being on top. Just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be done. You versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success.
The experience will have been worth 10 times the cost. So what did we have to lose? There was no risk. You know, I think that's a very healthy way to look at it. The only thing you really have in your life is time. And if you invest that time in yourself to have great experiences that are going to enrich you, then you can't possibly lose.
At the end of the day, a path is an option. It's one of the ways forward, but it's the thing that you're doing right now today, so people get really focused on that. They make their happiness built around that. They think about that as the thing. But as the old saying goes, don't confuse the finger with the moon that it's pointing at.
So for me, I want to live in a state of being grateful and blissful now, not waiting for some future place or date that may never arise.
So 80-20, right? I spend 80% of my time thinking about the things that are amazing in my life that I'm grateful for, the beautiful things that I want to build and create, but I also spend 20% of my time kicking myself in the ass, because otherwise you get really stagnant.
You got to outwork everybody on that field. You got to outwork everybody in the room. You got to learn how to perform under pressure. You got to leave it all out on the field. Everybody wants the future, but everybody wants to be average. You need to be disciplined. The future is very expensive, and only those who are carriers of discipline can inherit the future. I need you to stay motivated. I don't care if you have to listen to me 1,000 times. I need you to stay motivated. And I need that motivation to mature into discipline.
I dare you to make something happen this week, to take massive action this week. Drop everything and do something.
99% of people that say stuff like that are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come true. The Marines have a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And that's just real. At the center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline.
So I hope this mastery session has helped you a lot. I've given my heart and soul in this one, so I hope you feel how much I care and I really want to help you. Here's what I would encourage you to do. If you have found this mastery session valuable, please share it with 3 people as quickly as possible, and then start the conversation with them about everything that you learned. Number 2, if you would like me to mentor you and you want to go 100x deeper into this kind of material that I've shared on, whether it's neuroscience or the philosophy or greatness, if you really want to multiply and accelerate your productivity, if you really want to bring your fire and your primitive and primal heroism to the world, and you're tired of playing small, and you're tired of limiting yourself, well then I would love to work with you if you're that kind of person. And there is information below on my monthly mentoring program. It's absolutely world-class. It's called Circle of Legends. And if you feel you want to work at Legendary and live that heroic life that I truly believe you're destined to live, check out the information below in Circle of Legends, and I'd love to be of service to you in the program.
Commitment is the key. The moment that you commit yourself, then all unforeseen incidents, people, things that can happen that are positive begin to come your way. And basically the whole thought was the fact that nothing comes to you until you commit yourself. Nothing comes to you if you're just going to try, but you're not committed. Nothing comes to you if you're just thinking about it. It's not until you take the action step. It's not until you take the direction do the things start to flow through you. That quote, I laminated and I carried it in my pocket for almost a year. And during the day, I would just have times where I would feel a little bit like, do I really want to keep doing this? And I would pull that quote out and I would read it and I'd put it back in my pocket, and it just gave me fuel for the day. And that fuel lasted until I got through that very difficult year of leadership, of which it was a turning point year. It was in that year that I began to understand, I think, the deeper areas and the deeper possibilities and thoughts about leadership itself. It was in that year that I settled the issue of commitment, and I settled the issue of direction, and I came out of that year, and to be honest with you, ever since I've built on that commitment year of my life. The only reason I share that with you is because I have a tendency to think that perhaps in your life, you may be tempted to sometimes just kind of throw your hands up and quit. I'm not saying you should always keep doing what you're doing. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying don't cheat yourself out of the possibility of the potential that's on the other side of commitment. Stay with it long enough to find out if there's any fruit in it. I promise you this, you'll be glad you did. And I have found, and I think you will find also, commitment really is the key.
Your brain is always developing habits, so it's happening whether you want it to happen or not. And the question is, can you take control of the process? And in a lot of ways, the fact that we have these mindless automatic behaviors, it's a pretty good system that evolution has designed. I mean, if you think about it from a very high level, as you go throughout life, you are facing problems. And some of those problems are big problems, and some of them are really small ones, like you need to tie your shoe. And your brain, whenever you come across a solution to the problem that you're facing, and you repeat it again and again, your brain starts to automate that. So, you tie your shoe once, and the first time it takes some effort and so on, but then you do it 50 or 100 or 200 times, and pretty soon you can tie your shoes while having a conversation or thinking about something else or whatever. And this is sort of the role that habits play in our lives, is that they are these mental shortcuts, these kind of automatic scripts that you can just play whenever the situation or the context is right. And they free up cognitive resources to focus your attention elsewhere. And so that's a really good system overall. We use it all day long without thinking about it. But occasionally it can serve us poorly because, so let's say you come home from work and you feel stressed and exhausted. And that's a problem that needs to have some kind of solution. So for one person, maybe they learn that if I play video games for an hour, I'm no longer stressed and exhausted. For another person, maybe learn if I smoke a cigarette, I reduce stress. For a third person, maybe it's meditating for 10 minutes. For a fourth person, maybe they run for a half hour. And the point here is that different solutions can solve the same recurring problems throughout life. And so your original habit is not necessarily the optimal habit for solving whatever the situations are that you come across in your life, the problems that you face day in and day out. And so if you can, it becomes more about designing a better solution to those problems. And that's where my focus is like, all right, we're building habits anyway. How can we develop better solutions to the recurring problems in our life?